the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The Wolves 19-10 as of recording. The Nuggets 21-7. Again, third seed, virtual tie with the San Antonio Spurs right now. This will be their third matchup of the year. Denver has won the first two matchups. This is going to be the first Nuggets-Wolves matchup of the season without Aaron Gordon. Since both of these matchups happened, I think we had an October 27th one and then a November 15th matchup. And so for me, like obviously Anthony Edwards looms very large in this one for Minnesota. But to Denver's defense as a whole, without Aaron Gordon, I am curious to see like how much that changes for what they want to do against Ant, or just how much that changes for them scheme-wise in general. Because I do think, with all due respect, I have enjoyed the Spencer Jones experience. I know you have also enjoyed the Spencer Jones experience. It is a little bit different than Aaron Gordon in some of the matchups that he can take on. And so, like, I just wonder, like, does that shift things for Denver matchup-wise? Do we ramp up pressure against Anthony Edwards? Are we more conservative against Anthony Edwards because of this? Like, is it just going to be business as usual? Like, I have some questions about that one heading in. Just how much will Denver miss Aaron Gordon in this particular game?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is which end will they miss him more on is something you could also say. I mean, I think with Denver and what we've seen them when they're humming defensively, it's particularly against Minnesota, is okay, we're going to show you different things. We're going to try and show you different coverages. We're going to try and keep you out of rhythm in a different way. So, you know, it could be Jokić, who are you guarding? Who's Jokić guarding? Can we put Jokić on a non-shooter? Can we make you force Jaden McDaniels into a screener in a different way? You know, that's just one of those things where I'm trying to figure out, okay, what decision do they want to make? And how amped is Anthony Edwards going to be for this matchup anyways? That's where it gets tricky.
No, I think that's fair. Like, I think for me, like, it's also tied to, like, Julius Randle as well, because naturally you would have Aaron Gordon taking on Randle. You could turn any of those Randle pick and rolls into switches if you want. There's a level of roaming that Aaron Gordon can do. And to your point, Steven, I think it was a fair question. The offense, too. Like, if Nikola Jokić is getting doubled on any of those post touches and you got Aaron Gordon either spacing the opposite corner or just kind of roaming the dunker spot area, those are lob opportunities. And, like, a quiet thing that we, I guess, haven't seen with Denver is when Spencer Jones is in that spot, like, you're not getting the same, like, that's not as viable as an option. Not that he's never made that dump down pass to Spencer Jones or anything like that, but, like, you know, the lob radius isn't the same. It's not as automatic on some of those. And so, like, even something that's small as that is something that I'm kind of keying in on. Like, how does that affect what Minnesota wants to do? And again, like, to the Randle portion, like, is this Spencer Jones on Julius Randle now? If you want to keep Peyton Watson on Anthony Edwards, because that was more so the bit in the November 15th matchup. That was the first time we saw Ant against Denver, because he missed that first matchup that they had. And so, like, do you keep it static that way? So, like, I always kind of key in when I'm talking about specific games or series, like, hey, what are these matchups going to be like? What do these teams want to do? Much to your chagrin when we have these conversations. But I do think with the Aaron Gordon variable, it is an actual interesting one that can shift things on both ends of the floor. So I want to start there.
Okay.
Naturally, we do also have Nikola Jokić in this game. You brought him up already. He has been incredible this season, for one. Against Minnesota over the past few years. Like, this has probably been, like, my favorite matchup to watch with, like, a Jokić-centric thing. Because on one end, you have seen him put, like, Rudy Gobert inside the basket. We've also seen, hey, let's put a wing or a forward on Jokić. We're going to have Rudy Gobert roam. Let's see how you want to deal with that. Like, it's been a really fun, like, cat and mouse with Minnesota dealing with Jokić as a concept the last 2 or 3 years. So, like, that always excites me. And again, with some of these injuries and some of the different lineups that we'll see in this one, just like how creative does Minnesota get with their defense? Like, can they afford to do some of the cross-matching thing and use Rudy as a roamer? Because, like, in a vacuum, yes, I could put Rudy Gobert on Spencer Jones. Do I want Julius Randle guarding Nikola Jokić when we know we need him to get buckets for us and make plays for us on the other end? Like, do I want to give him that kind of burden? Like, I don't really want to do that. But if it is Rudy on ball on Jokić, he's going to do his best. Like, I do think he does a pretty decent job of making him work at the very least. Jokić just wins because he's Nikola Jokić. If this is a Rudy Gobert foul trouble game, it gets kind of dicey for Minnesota's defense if Rudy just isn't on the floor. Like, that has been, even with Rudy not being the A-plus version of himself defensively this year, when he goes to the bench, like, it just changes how they want to guard, how effective they are, what the rebounding looks like, and all the things. So, like, I do think the Rudy Gobert component is a pretty important one in this matchup.
And you know who wants you to think that? Nikola Jokić.
Yeah.
Hey, come over here. Yeah, you come guard me. I think that's a key one. But I think for Minnesota, you have to really kind of put Jamal Murray in a box.
Yes.
I think he's the one you have to try and take off the board. And then, okay, whatever Jokić gets, he gets, but he can't ding us with everything. So we've got to just make sure Jamal Murray's gone. We can't give up the easy ones. I do want to very quickly, before we get back to this, go back to your matchup point when it came to Denver, right? And how they want to guard. The one thing, if you recall, in their first matchup, it was one of the few times where I started to realize, okay, teams are working to put Naz Reid and Julius Randle in the box. And by that, I mean, we're going to make whatever you do a switch. And so they essentially had Spencer Jones on Randle. They had Bruce Brown on Naz Reid, and they had Peyton Watson on Anthony Edwards at times. And then Jokić was on insert player here, just roaming. And you know how Denver defensively likes to have him in a spot where, okay, I'm the low man. I can tag, I can roam, I can help. And so, if Anthony Edwards wants to counter with the post-up, Jokić is roaming off a non-shooter. If you want to drive, he's sticking in the paint, someone's going to close out, and now he's going to be there. So it's one of those things where Minnesota overall has to be able to punish teams that feel like guards and wings can guard Naz Reid and Julius Randle, because it can't be a both-end scenario with that lineup. We've seen Minnesota go to that zone with McDaniels, with Reid and Randle. It's been fantastic. Okay, we're trying to figure out what that is. It can't also be we're taking Naz Reid and Julius Randle off the table offensively. So I want to hear that. Now, back to Nikola Jokić, man. Hey. Here's the thing, right? One, casual shot making. Two, the different type of ways he gets to buckets makes it hard to really just say, okay, we're going to do this or put this insert person here on him. And so it's going to have to be a team effort, because he's going to move around the board. He's going to initiate. They're going to go ahead and rip screen him into the post. And the no hesitation he had in that game against Minnesota, when he caught it and he saw Rudy Gobert, and he said, yes,
let's go.
This ball is going to the basket. You're coming with me. Not a lot you can do with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that's fair. And I think through the first two games of this one, the fact that he hasn't even really pressed the three-point button yet, that is something that you sprinkle in some of these pick and pops. Like, that was one of the fun things I was tracking during the Houston-Denver matchups that we've gotten treated to as of late. Just like, man, Houston is selling out a third defender to these Jokić pops. They do not want him to take these. Like, the final frontier for Jokić has always kind of been, we know he can make any shot from the middle of the floor. We know he has these floaters. We know when he posts up, he can just boogie on people. You kind of just have to pray that he's not making threes too. And so the fact that he's been a 40+% three-point shooter this year, on top of everything else he does, on top of the playmaking, it's like, okay, there actually just is not an answer for this dude. We can't double him. We had a whole Jokić breakdown earlier this season about what happens when you send two defenders to him, and then they put him in the middle of the floor, and that makes that more complicated. It's just kind of tough. And so, I do wonder for Minnesota, and for Rudy in particular, if he's just going to get the assignment outright. It's like, not can you goad Jokić into three-pointers, because he's just too smart of a player. Like, he's going to take threes because he wants to, not because you're tricking him into doing so. But I do wonder, does this turn into a high volume three-point game for Jokić at all? And if so, what would be the factors behind that? Is he just feeling it? Is Minnesota kind of zagging where the team zig? Okay, we're actually not going to send a third defender. We're going to try to keep this 2-on-2 as much as we can. We got Jaden and Rudy. Jaden, you're going to have to navigate as best you can with Jamal Murray and Jokić in action. What does that look like?
So, let's see. High volume Jokić three-point game. How many is that? 8?
Maybe.
So he took 6. He took 6 last time against Minnesota. Made 3 of them.
That was 0 in the first, yeah.
So I would say pretty much. Yeah,
he can do what he wants, man.
Yeah, he's gonna take whatever he wants. It's fine. I think, and I'll throw this out for you, right? How decisive is Anthony Edwards going to be? Because I think that's been a big growth mark for him. He's been playing well, but Denver again going to throw different stuff at him. So even if you want to turn the corner, there's going to be a body show. We're going to show help. We're going to communicate. We're going to force you to skip. They've thrown out switching against them. They've thrown out traps. They've thrown out zone defense to give you your little tip of the cap, since you always wonder how much zone. Denver did a good job of mixing in zone as well. So I think the key for Denver is let's keep Anthony Edwards off balance. Let's get their offense out of rhythm. And then let's do what we do on the other end.
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, in that second matchup, and again, that was the first time Ant played Denver this year, I think they went zone pretty early in that basketball game too, just to throw a different look at them. One of my favorite Anthony Edwards things, and this isn't new per se, But it is very funny where teams, to your point, are like, okay, let's throw drop at Anthony Edwards. Okay, now let's bring a guy to the level. Now let's trap him. Now let's sprinkle in this layer of help, etc. And then we just get to a point where Ant is just like, actually, I don't want a screen. Give me the ball. I'm just going to dribble into a post up, or I'm just going to attack. I do wonder at what point Anthony Edwards taps that button, where she's like, actually, none of these guys can really guard me. Like, Peyton Watson is a good defender. Spencer Jones is a good defender. So, like, not to try to disrespect them. From Anthony Edwards' view, like, I don't think there's anyone in the league that he thinks can actually defend him. And so I wonder, like, when he taps that button, because it is going to happen at some point during this basketball game. How quickly does he tap it, I think, could be instructive as to where Minnesota's offense is flow-wise. And so like, that's going to be a fun one for me. Because I think if this does turn into, actually, I'm just going to attack. I don't need a screen. We're cool. Let's see how often you want to help. Can we generate some shots? That'd get fun. Or you about to jump in? I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're good, man. Keep cooking.
Okay. No, the Ant stuff is fun. And like even some of the mid-range shots he was able to get into in that matchup against Denver earlier this year. I will say quickly to your point, 33% switch rate against Anthony Edwards in that November 15th matchup. 23% blitz rate in that matchup. That's the third highest the Ant has seen in a game this year. And so this is absolutely, I would anticipate, a level of we're going to have Jokić at the level whenever he does try to put him in action. I guess related to that, if we do get Jokić on Rudy, like, hey, how often does Ant want to make that pass to Rudy if we get two on the ball?
Well, this is the difficulty for Minnesota when teams decide to switch Julius Randle or Naz Reid. Your pick and roller becomes Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. And will the pass be made? Will the pass be received? Will there be a finish? Put you in a box. So do they just kind of not try and do as many pick and rolls as possible, or do you want to you're going to want to put Jokić in action? But then again, because like we mentioned, Denver's wide up versatility, they can do a little bit different things. So, okay, that's fine. You want to put Jokić in action? We'll have him guard this person. Now what? Mm-hmm. So, good streak.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, I do think Ant is passing the ball more in pick and roll this year. And like Rudy Quiet has kept 73% on twos this year. Like it's more of, at least watching him this year, it's been more of will he catch it more than will he finish this year, which is a shift compared to like I'm kind of worried about both right now with some of the stuff that we saw last year and the year before. So we'll see what that portion of the program looks like. What kind of foul drawing can he have? What kind of offensive rebounding will we see for Rudy? Like he's an X factor in this matchup. He always is because of how important he is to that defense. But especially within this context, like, hey man, if he can hashtag do his job, that does give Minnesota's offense a higher floor against a Denver defense that, especially since Aaron Gordon's been out and Christian Brown has also been out, he's not going to be in this matchup. Like, it's been an inconsistent run for Denver defensively, and understandably so when you were missing two of your best defenders. So there may be some stuff for Minnesota to poke at. Also, while we're here on Minnesota, I just want to quickly say the name of Bones Hyland, who's been giving them some decent minutes as of late. I don't know how much we see of him in this matchup. Well, not the immediate deep threat. I guess shout out Bones Hyland.
We're coming off a game where Mike Conley had to start second half and help save the Minnesota Timberwolves.
It's true.
And you immediately go to Bones Hyland. And I am supposed to receive that well.
Well, see, I was leaving Mike Conley for you.
That's not accurate. Okay.
But no, shout out to Mike Conley. But no, it's been, I think between like Bones Hyland, more so like Rob Dillingham, there's always kind of a spotlight on, okay, what exactly, who of the young guards will pop? Because to your point, Mike Conley had a huge second half. You don't want to need Mike Conley to save you in that aspect. It's like you would like to have a contingency plan, so you don't need Mike Conley to do that, and it's more of a bonus that Mike Conley can still knock down shots, operate and pick and roll, communicate off the ball defensively. It's been fun kind of tracking some of the leeway that Bones Hyland's been getting as of late. That's the major point that I want to make. No Conley slander intended. That was all.
Okay.
That's there we go. We're gonna get out of there. I did want to circle back last couple of things from me. Curious about what the non-Jokić minutes going to look like. You already hit the major notes about how Julius Randle and Naz Reid are treated, particularly when they're on the floor together. That battle versus Denver's second unit, which notably has played much better with Jokić off the floor than they have in years past. That's going to be a fun one. How much switching can you get to if JV's on the floor against one or both of those guys? Like, I'm curious to see what that battle's going to look like. And then circling back to the Jamal Murray, Jaden McDaniels of it all. Like, those two have had some battles over the last 2-3 years. How high are the pickup points for Minnesota going to be is the thing that I'm tracking. Because we have seen in regular season games and in playoff series between these two, where we have like a 3/4 pickup for Jaden McDaniels. We just want to bother and tire out Jamal Murray. There are obvious counters because Jamal Murray does not mind getting off the ball and running around or receiving an off-ball screen or flowing into a pitch and catch kind of thing. Like that cat and mouse is going to be fun for me to track between those two. So wanted to add that in earlier when you brought up Jamal Murray and Minnesota wanting to keep him in a box, but wanted to get that out there. Had it in my notes. So I'm excited about that bit.
Fantastic. Love to hear that. What's up?
Thank you. Did you have any closing Wolves Nuggets thoughts or questions?
It's the first time they're facing off on December 25th.
Okay.
And Denver's going to play for the 6th time in the last 7 years. Minnesota, their 4th appearance in the last 10 years after none in their first 27. And I finished this with a question for you, Nekias Duncan.
Okay.
Nikola Jokić. I'm going to give you a hint here. Nikola Jokić, because of time, is one of 3 players to have a 40-plus point, 15-plus rebound, 15-plus assist game on December 25th on Christmas. Can you name the other 2?
Okay, so I'm going to guess Wilt Chamberlain.
No.
Okay, well, that's fine if he didn't do it. I wasn't going to miss him again. I tell you that. Sure wasn't. Okay, so 40, 15, and 15, you said?
Yep.
Magic Johnson?
No.
Larry Bird?
No.
Okay. 40, 15, and 15. James Harden?
Correct. You have 2.
Okay. Cool. Luka Doncic?
No.
Okay. 40, 15, and 15. I just don't think LeBron's had a 15 rebound game on Christmas.
No.
Okay. Russell Westbrook?
No.
Okay. Did we get like an Oscar Robertson game?
He did it. Only because he thought of Russell Westbrook, but he did it.
We are so back. Not back at all. We are so back.